Hello, I'm Kat and this is 10 minutes long. This one's a little bit different because I wanted to talk about moving and buying a house and a lot of the stuff that's related to that as a first time buyer I didn't know or expect, and maybe a little bit about how I've come to be able to buy a house. And it's quite a contentious subject for people sort of my age and younger. But I also thought about maybe doing a packing video as well, and I thought that's going to be like really boring, like who cares about me packing? So I thought I'd combine the two. Thought I'd chat to you about moving whilst packing this bookcase up. I don't know how far I'm going to get doing that whilst talking, and also need to keep an eye on the time, which is just behind the camera, so that I don't run over the 10 minutes, because it's one of those where there's not, I don't intend for there to be tons of stuff to be cut out. Anyway, so the first thing is that it's quite contentious in terms of actually being able to buy a house, and people like me and people my age are targeted in the media with these stories about this 21-year-old who was able to buy like a £500,000 house by the time they were 21, and you read into the story and you find it's because they've had a massive handout from their parents, or the various reasons that are you're just like, yeah, well, of course they did. They had a handout from their parents, or yeah, they're getting paid $100,000 a year and they're living at home, so they were able to save that much. And like for just ordinary people like me, it's not easy to be able to do it. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I've had no handouts at all, not from my parents, not from anybody within my family. In fact, I've lost my in this. My grandma died, unfortunately, at the start of last year, and something that I'm still feeling very acutely. And they're like, my family is huge, and the money that she had, she wanted to share around to everybody. So by that point, I'd pretty much already saved my deposit anyway, and she left me £1,000, which I'm going to use to create like a little memorial section in my garden for her when I move. My dad died as well, not long beforehand, and he was going through a messy divorce, and he left nothing at all. In fact, I had to kind of dip into my savings in order to bury him. So, sad things aside, I haven't done this as a result of getting handouts from people. How I've done this is by saving for years, and I mean years. And I guess the way in which I think that I'm lucky is that I have a set of skills that enable me to work from home. I have a set of skills that I can charge more for as I learn. So it's something where I can go out there and get a job where I would expect a pay increase every year, or I can get a job that will pay me more than perhaps just minimum wage. Having said that, I still earn less than £30,000 a year. So that's, take that as you will. I'm not saying that I know there's a lot of people who earn a lot less. And that's why I consider myself lucky to be earning what I do. But how I've afforded this is by saving, literally scrimping everything. I don't go out to pubs, I don't go on holidays, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't go anywhere. I have one friend, and it's amazing that she was quite happy to just come to my house and chill out with me. I don't go anywhere, I don't do anything, there's nothing to spend my money on, and that is how I've scrimped. And like every lost my train of thought. Every penny that I've saved has been saved. I pay my bills every month. Occasionally I might buy like a top or something like that, but it's like this jumper. It came from a website called Everything, £5. It was £5. I scrimp where I can do, and then my money goes into savings. The other thing as well that I consider myself to be really lucky on is that I have a set of skills that enables me to freelance, and because I'm also working from home, it means that I can finish work at 5 and then start freelancing, and I can do it at weekends, I can do it at evenings, and I've been doing that for years. In fact, I'm getting to a point now where it's actually really nice that I can turn around and say, done with the freelancing, like I've got my money, I'm getting out, like I need my time back. So that's a little bit about how I've afforded it. Nothing special there, just luck really, just sheer luck and the ability to scrimp and save whilst also renting, and not having to deal with lots of emergencies. I've not had to deal with buying new appliances and things like that. But I did have to buy this fridge lately, but by that point I'd already saved up quite a bit. So yeah, it's been years and years and years and years and years and years and years of saving, and that's how I've afforded it. But I also acknowledge that I've been pretty lucky along the way. The other thing I want to talk about is the moving process itself, not the actual moving, but actually buying a house is insane. I knew that I would have to. I'm not packing very well. I knew that I would have to spend money aside from the property. So, as well as buying the property, you have to pay for surveys and, your mortgage costs and things like that. So there are extra costs that you have to account for. So it's not just saving your deposit, it's saving for that as well, which is kind of what threw me really, with saving for all of those bits. And sometimes that's more expensive than you think it is. It was pretty hard to actually find a house. Just now, as we're coming towards the end of the pandemic and stuff, just like everyone has been selling. And when I was looking for my property, it was just I was ringing people up and saying can I come and look at this house, and it's it's gone. We had you just had to get in really, really fast. So actually finding one wasn't easy in the first place. And then when we found one that we liked, it was kind of we need to give notice. We need to tell them that we want it really fast. You have to make that decision fast, and it's a big purchase and something that is going to be affecting you for many years to come, and you're making a decision based on being in a property for 5 minutes. I don't know how the shower runs there, I don't know how the toilet flushes, I don't know whether the neighbours are noisy, I don't know any of this. You just kind of have to take a gamble, and I think that for me was quite a freaky part of the process, because I like to be really organised. And then after that point, you kind of go through this process where you say, dude, I'm going to buy your house, and they're like, okay, cool. And then everything happens through the letting agent, so you can't talk to the seller, everything goes through them, so you're reliant on them to tell you if everything's going swimmingly the other end. Now for me, I'm currently renting, so and my landlord was quite clear that he didn't want to move on to a rolling contract, so my contract had to end on a specific date. But the seller at first said that they already had somewhere to go, it wasn't a big deal for them, so it was alright, great. And then it turned out that they didn't have somewhere to go, they'd lied. So then we had to wait for their chain to complete, but then the house that he was buying fell through, then he had to buy another house that was tenanted. We had to wait 2 months for the tenants to move out. So for us, this has actually been a 6-month long process, which is not at all what I was expecting. And it's been nerve-wracking. I thought that I was going to have to pay for my mortgage and my rent for about 3 months at the same time. But it hasn't. I thought I was being really, ambitious going for it when I did. It was too soon really to be buying. But actually we're right up against the notice period. The completion will happen the day that I was due to give notice for this flat. So that was a bit nerve-wracking as well, because it was we have to pull out if that doesn't happen, because we'll become homeless. So there's been a lot of like stress. It has been a really stressful process, that's one thing I would say. So obviously I've not finished this box at all. I thought I was going to be a lot further. I thought I was going to be talking and stuff, but it's coming up on 10 minutes. So anyway, there's just some thoughts on what it's been like to buy a house, and here is my not very empty now bookcase. Hope you enjoyed it.